So today we're going to be talking about the Canoptek Acanthrites. $77 in the US or £49.50 in the UK. Now you're not going to be buying that from gamesworkshop.com, you're going to be going to the Forge World website, which are a little bit too pricey for my liking, and for that $77 you're only getting 3 models. Now you'll find the data sheets for the Canoptek Acanthrites in either the Warhammer 40k app or in the Imperial Armour Compendium book. So let's go through the actual Acanthrites themselves. They're 40 points per model, and you can have a unit between 3 and 6 of them. So quite expensive model for model there. So they are a core unit and they do have a 12-inch movement with the fly keyword. So it's worth noting that they're toughness 5 and they have 3 wounds apiece. So it's very similar to our Canoptek Wraiths, except you're not going to be getting that invulnerable save with the Canoptek Acanthrites. However, they do have an ability called Shadowed Wings, so it's a -1 for enemy units to be hitting our Acanthrite models. Now they've got both a range attack as well as a melee attack, so the ranged attack is a cutting beam. It's a little bit like a melter weapon for a Space Marine model. So it's 12-inch, assault 1, strength 8, -4 AP, and the damage is D6, and if it's within half range it'll be D6 plus 2. And the Void Blade is the melee weapon, which kind of feels like a power sword. You get an additional attack with this, which in fact brings their attacks to 3. Your strength user, so strength 5, -3 AP and 1 damage. So it can do work in both the shooting phase as well as the fight phase. Preferably you want to be doing stuff in the shoot phase because the melter weapon I think is more important than a power sword. But maybe taking a Royal Warden to get them out of combat, then get them to shoot and get back into combat with those swords might be the way to go here. Now alternatively you could use the Conquering Tyrant command protocol to allow them to fall back and shoot. Now it will be at a -1 to hit, and Canoptek units already hit on a 4+, so that will be a 5+. And then you don't have the option of actually recharging that unit, whereas, as I said, the Royal Warden gives you that ability. Worth noting, because they're a core unit, you can use the Disruption Field Stratagem for a command point to increase the strength of the Void Blades to strength 6. So against toughness 3 models, you're going to be wounding them on a 2+. And against toughness 5, of course, you're wounding them on a 3+. Now you could synchronise this unit with a character model that's got the Veil of Darkness relic to get them in nice and early, turn 1 in fact, getting them cutting beam shots out nice and early to remove something big. Now don't forget, when you use the Veil of Darkness relic, you're going to be 9 inches away from enemy models, so you will be within 12 inches to actually use the weapons, not within half range to get the D6 plus 2 damage. Now that character model could maybe be a Technomancer with a Canoptek control node to allow the Canoptek units to hit on a 3+ as opposed to a 4+. That may be pretty useful for those cutting beams in particular. Or alternatively, you can take a command barge. That will keep up with these kind of models because they've got the My Will Be Done ability, working on core units within the same dynasty code. So again, they'll be hitting on a 3+. Now another alternative character to synchronise with the Canoptek Acanthrites would be a Chronomancer, to get them the 5+ invulnerable save, which they don't have, and also the reroll to that charge roll isn't too bad either. Now to maximise on the damage front, you can pull out the Silent King. He's of course buffing core units at range and in melee, and this unit does both. So why not bring the Silent King to the party when you've got your Acanthrites? Now the dynasty that's going to be useful for the Acanthrites may be the Mephrit dynasty to begin, +3 to that range of the range attack, so that'll be now 15-inch range, and half range is now 7.5 inches to attempt to get that D6 plus 2 damage. Or alternatively, if you're going melee heavy, the Novak dynasty of course is going to assist, that +1 to your charge roll, as well as the extra AP on top of that, and then using the protocol of Hungry Void for the +1 to the strength as well as that as well. So lots of synergy with the Mephrit dynasty as well as the Novak dynasty. Now I just wanted to throw a third option here, which is the Zerakin dynasty, just to get that single reroll to the wound roll, which could be quite beneficial, again in both the shooting phase as well as the fight phase. But also because this kind of unit's going to be on your front lines, maybe they're going to be taking some smite attacks, so having that 5+ feel no pain save against mortal wounds could keep them up and running just a little bit longer. Now other unit synergy, you can pull out Illumina Zarez with the augmentation ability. All 3 of the random options are going to be pretty decent for the Canoptek Acanthrites, the strength, the toughness, or the ballistic skill. All 3 of those are going to work just fine. And also he can reanimate one of those models too because they're a core unit. We've already mentioned the Royal Warden to fall back and shoot and fall back and charge. But another one which is from the vehicle section, which is the Triarch Stalker. Having that targeting relay to reroll hit rolls of a 1 when you're firing at range. This could be really useful for 6 cutting beam melter shots, especially when you've already buffed them with either a My Will Be Done or a control node as well. Now why this unit is so useful is because not only are they going to be doing quite a lot of damage to your opponent's units, but also because they're a core unit, they can be doing things such as Ancient Machineries, which is quite a common selection when you're taking your secondary objectives, and also because they're quick enough, they can get to those far distant objectives that have the treasures of Aeons attached to them. Now if you are using Ancient Machineries as one of your secondaries, don't forget the Protocol of Sudden Storm, Directive 2 to be able to fire while still doing the action. You definitely don't want to be foregoing your Strength 8 shots just to do an action with these guys, so make sure you've got that protocol active. And finally, before the summary, don't forget the stratagem Enslaved Protectors. As they're a Canoptek unit, they can heroically intervene as if they were a character, but only one command point there. So to summarise, they've got a solid punch with those cutting beams as well as the void blade, so they're hitting in 2 different phases. However, they're not backed up with toughness in my opinion. Okay, it's toughness 5 with 3 wounds apiece, but there's no natural invulnerable save there. And in the same battlefield role, they're competing with the Canoptek Wraiths, which do have those invulnerable saves. Now those Canoptek Wraiths don't hit as hard with their claws, but the way Necrons play, you tend to try and score points as opposed to completely annihilate enemy units. So that's why Canoptek Wraiths are probably a better option when you're comparing the two. So it's kind of up to you. Do you want to give up those Strength 8 weapons for the invuln saves with the Canoptek Wraiths? But for the Planet 40k rating today for the Canoptek Acanthrites, it's going to be an unfortunate 2-star.